Welcome to the Creative Brew, helping you keep your creative juices brewing. We're giving out chunks of insight, motivation, and practicality for your creative journey. We've got some great partners with the Creative Brew. First of all, Panels Comics and Coffee Bar here in beautiful Oceanside, California, right off of Mission Avenue. They've got some of the hottest graphic novels and comics out right now. They also have a wide assortment of merchandise, toys, as well as back issue vintage comic books, and that I'm sure has some hidden gems in there. If you mention the Creative Brew, you'll get 10% off of your next purchase. You can also check them out on social media at Panels Coffee or go to panelscoffee.com. My next partner is Elevate Coffee Trading, and if you appreciate specialty coffee, enjoy outdoor adventure, and love helping elevate the lives of children around the world, then you're going to love Elevate Coffee Trading. Their mission is to extract hope through love, coffee, and adventures. There's free shipping in the United States, and every bag of coffee helps sponsor health and education for children in coffee-producing countries and in areas of need in the United States. You can use promo code ELEVATE21 on your next order, and you can follow their journey on social media at Elevate Coffee Trading. Or you can visit online at elevatecoffeetrading.com, and let's start extracting hope together. Another partner of mine is Astropad. And if you're a digital creator like me and you constantly use your iPad Pro, you can actually use Astropad to change your graphics tablet into another professional graphics tablet. So you can use Photoshop, full versions of Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, all your favorite programs right on your iPad Pro or graphics tablet. This has been an awesome tool for me because I'm always having to do some fine-tuning, editing, repainting, recoloring on various design projects or working on logos. Astropad is a huge asset for me. For teachers and students and educators, they actually have a great deal going on right now. This is an annual subscription, so it's a subscription app, but it's been a huge tool for me, and I don't know what I would do without Astropad. So you can check them out at Astropad app or go to astropad.com. And my last sponsor is the Cobo Pod. The Cobo Pod is a boutique video and audio production studio based in Oceanside, California. And if you're a podcaster, vlogger, content creator, you should really come by and check out the venue for yourself. Anytime that I bring in a guest, they're amazed by the setup, amazed by the quality, the production value. Like I said, I think the Creative Brew just went up a notch. I actually went up incredible levels partnering up with the Cobo Pod and been able to create, 4K video. Everything looks great. Even the photographer that we have on staff, I use a lot of their photography for branded assets for the Creative Brew, as well as the audio for my podcast and my radio show. So if you want to feel like booking your session, and maybe you're thinking about, starting a podcast, or maybe, heck, you want to just sit in one day, I'm doing a podcast or I'm doing a show. Hey, come by, check it out. See the venue, see the setup, check out everybody. It's a great vibe here. But let's book your session today at cobopod.org. Episode of Creative Brew, giving you insights on your creative journey. Today we have a past guest on the show, bringing them back, and probably one of the more energetic people that I've ever encountered, and I think that energy is contagious, and I think that even with the people that he impacts, I think they absorb that energy and they use it in a very positive manner. I think it's sort of showing, and especially with Coach Jon Reader and Coach Bono, that definitely changing the culture and the vision of Wisconsin wrestling, and definitely it's definitely showing. You see a lot of guys there that are wrestling on a high level, and so I think that energy and that culture, I think how they're performing right now is a byproduct of that. But without further ado, I'm going to let Coach Reader sort of share his quick story about him, and then we'll get the show going.
Let's go, Q. I'm excited to be back on the show. Like you said, this is my second time around, and I'm really excited guys, give you guys an update of where we're at, and just really honored to be back on your show. You do a lot of great stuff, and I love the passion, I love the hustle, I love the energy that you bring to the people that follow your show, and in the work that you do in your professional career. And just very honored to be back, Q. But little update on me since the last time we spoke. I think that was, I believe that was before a 100-mile race. I believe it was. So we're going to get into that. So there's a lot to talk about that, but we're in the middle of our collegiate season here at the University of Wisconsin, and we're in the heart of, we're really in the fire right now, as so to speak. We're in the thick of our season, and really every single weekend it's highly contested, high intensity matches. This weekend we're going up to Minnesota on Sunday, and we're about 2 months away from the NCAA tournament. So in a span of 8 weeks, there's a lot of matches that are still on the schedule to happen, but we're gearing up for that Big Ten tournament and NCAA championships in the first week of March.
Nice, nice. So right now, I mean, what, obviously, I know you've been on the show and sort of accustomed to a lot of the questions and everything. But right now, I mean, what, as far as the things that's transpired since maybe the last time you've been a past guest, what things have sort of transpired for you? They
Oh,
could be
listen,
positive or challenges. I mean,
oh, dude, I could go on and on, Q, about the challenges that I've had to overcome, and one of them, the magnitude of a challenge that we had to overcome. A little bit of the story was during quarantine. When quarantine first hit, we met a buddy of ours on social media, a guy that we hit it off right away, and was just, this guy had a ton of energy. His name's Pete Ripmaster, and we were sending quotes back and forth and whatnot during quarantine, and just kind of motivating each other. And lo and behold, we figured out that this guy likes to do 100-mile races, and his passion is, he is trying to run 100 miles in every single state of the United States, in a 100-mile race in every single one of them, right? And he just finished his 17th one, right? So that alone is incredible.
yeah,
So the same kind of mindset. He's a little bit crazy, right? So we hit it off right away. And Coach Bono and I said, listen, if you ever come to Wisconsin, we would love to run 10 miles with you. And Q, I'd never run more than 10 miles in my life. I ran it once. I joined cross country in high school for an off season in the summer, trying to stay in shape. And the coach made me run 10 miles one time. I was like, this is crazy. And I don't know, I don't ever want to do this again. And I never did it again. And I told this guy, I was like, listen, I've done 10 miles before. I can do that. I know I can make that. If you ever come to Wisconsin and you're doing a 100-mile race, I would love to jump in and pace you for 10 miles. That was about 4 or 5 months prior to August 1 of 2021, when this 100-mile race came to Wisconsin. And he said, listen, I'm coming to Wisconsin. The race is called the Badger 100. Would you guys want to come in and do 10 miles with me? And we said, absolutely. Well, things started marinating, and I told Coach Bono, I was like, listen, he's coming. We're not 10-mile type guys. Let's just do the whole thing. Let's just do the whole thing. And he, for the first 2 months, he was basically, saying, no, you're crazy. We're never doing that. I'm only committing to 10 miles. And every day I just chipped away at him. I said, listen, that's not who we are. We're going to do the whole 100 miles. And as we got closer, man, I'll never forget this. We were sitting at the Olympic trials in April. And so a couple months prior to the race, and I said, listen, registration is going to open up. There's a limited amount of spots. I want to do this 100 miles. And if you do it, I'll do it. Because I know no matter what, we won't leave each other.
yeah.
And we got him committed to the race. And dude, what an incredible experience of overcoming mental pain, physical pain, spiritual, you were a broken man in the 100-mile race, 100%. And there's so much to unpack in that race. And we're 5 or 6 months post race, and we're continually coming up with stories like, hey, do you remember when we did that during the race? But Q, the 100 miles is a whole nother, it's the hardest thing I've ever done physically in my entire life. Take any wrestling practice, take any wrestling training, take the hardest thing I've ever done in the sport of wrestling, and times it by 1,000,000. And I'm telling you, I don't even know if it still compares to what we had to go through. It took us 31 hours to get through this 100-mile race. And, I'll never forget, we took the training really, really seriously for the 4 or 5 months leading up to the race. And um, there's so much to unpack that I know I'm leaving a ton out, but it was the hardest thing I've ever done
Wow.
by far.
What was your training schedule with that?
So this is what the training looked like. And again, two guys that had zero idea of what really 100 miles really what was it all about.
Yeah.
So obviously we're here at the University of Wisconsin, and we've got great world-class resources when it comes to nutrition. So that was our first step. We said, listen, let's go dial in our nutrition because it's a different beast. You're
Mhm.
going to have to, you know, you're going to have to learn how to take in the certain calories and the fluids and make sure that you can maintain that energy throughout 30 hours of running this course. There was a 36-hour cutoff in this race, and we had to make sure that we finished before 36 hours. It took us 31, but nutrition was step number one. So we dialed in exactly, the certain amount of liquids that we would be taking in every aid station, the carbohydrates, the proteins, the fats. We dialed all that in. So we were very, very confident that that was, nutrition was taken care of.
Mhm.
Now, from a training standpoint, we didn't get any help. We just asked our buddy that he's kind of he's pretty famous in this ultra marathon world, and he just basically gave us the outline saying, listen, just kind of, go for longer runs and really no parameters on how far. But there was a system that we were going to do when we started the race on how we were going to we were going to run 2 miles, and then we were going to walk a half a mile. And
Okay.
in that half a mile, that's when you take in your fluids. That's when you take in your food, right? So that was what our plan was for the whole 100 miles. Start 2 mile run, half mile walk, take your nutrition in. So us knuckleheads, we never really put together a training plan for 4 months. It was basically just we would always have practice with our college guys on the mat at 8 a.m. So you had to work backwards. So if I wanted to run 20 miles, and most of the work I did was on a treadmill. So I
Yeah.
would come in at like 4 a.m., have my little cooler of liquids and food that I would be taking in. And I would literally train like I was going to train or run the race. I would get on the treadmill, do the pace that he said for the run. And then I would walk at the pace he wanted us to walk at. And I would take in the nutrition. And I tried to get my body as close to feeling what it was going to feel like when we get out on the course. Now, I did that, and I didn't feel anything like that when I got on the course, because it was just a different beast. The one time that my longest run in training was 26 miles, right? And obviously there's a lot left of that race.
Yeah.
And it was true. It was true to what I could have expected. I don't know why I was very confident leading into this race. When on race day, I was very confident. I got off. We started at the start line, and I couldn't believe the people that were at this race. There were 60, 70-year-old people at this race, and I'm a competitor. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm beating her. I'm beating him. There's no way in hell that guy's beating me. And that was my mindset for the first 20, 30 miles. And I'll never forget. So this guy, that our buddy of ours that we were running the race with, he's like I said, he's done a lot he's accomplished a lot of things in the ultra marathon. But he's also, before he got into 100-mile races, the Iditarod with the dogs.
Yeah.
There's actually a race where you don't use the dogs, and you go out there and you walk or you hike or whatever. And he's won that race. It's like thousands. It's like, I don't know how far it is. It's, hundreds of miles, thousands of miles. He's won that race. So he naturally had this incredible pace when we would walk.
Mhm.
Right. So when we got to the 30-mile point there, Coach Bowen and I, we couldn't keep up with him anymore. We could keep up with him in the run, but when it came to a walk, this guy's walk was, it was damn near a run.
Wow.
And eventually we're starting to wear down, and the walk, I couldn't get the nutrition in fast enough, and then before you knew it, we were running again. So there was a point about 30 miles that he kind of pulled away from us, our buddy.
Mhm.
So now it's just Coach Bono and I. And I'll never forget this, looking at each other and having that discussion on, it was a very, very quick 2-3 minute power talk. there was never a moment where we told each other we were going to quit, but it was constantly trying to build each other up. But I'll never forget that 3-minute talk. We were like, we kind of sternly said it to each other. We're like, listen, this is why we did this race, because it was going to be hard. What did you expect it to be? Did you expect this to be easy? And it kind of like, you're like, damn, you're right. Would you think this was going to be easy? And from that moment on, it was our rally cry. Every time things got hard, it was, remember why you're doing this. Remember why you're doing this hard thing. Hard things are good. You can do hard things. And, I no doubt about it, I couldn't have done it without him, because at certain times during the race, when I was really, really bad, he was really good. And when he was really bad, I was really good. So we kind of fed off each other's energy, and we never let each other really, really feel like, if he was down, it was my role. I had to pick him up. I had to make sure that his spirits were lifted, and we can do this. Let's get to the next aid station. That was another one of our rally cries. Don't worry about, hey, we got 75 miles left. Every aid station was 6 or 7 miles down the road. Just focus on getting to the next step. Just focus on getting to the next aid station. So, we continually were feeding off each other's energy, and, obviously 31 hours goes through the night. And the night, I would say, was probably one of the hardest moments for me. Right. So we hit that little 30 mile mark where our buddy left. And then the two of us, we cruised until about 60 miles. And 60-mile aid station, I'll never forget this. This is where I really started to spiral out of control. If you know me, I'm a creature of habit, right? So when we were setting up these little aid station, when you would come into an aid station, you would have a packet of food that you already prepared that was sitting at the aid station waiting for you to be there.
Yeah.
And, so I talking to our nutritionist, I was like, listen, I don't want to think. I just want to grab my stuff and pull it out and eat it. And for me, it was like I had prepared 11 or 12 peanut butter and jellies. And by 60 miles into this course, I could not look at that peanut butter and jelly. I didn't want to even touch that peanut butter and jelly, and I was already dehydrated beyond belief. And, so I bit into the peanut butter and jelly. My mouth was so dry, I couldn't even chew it. So I was like, forget this. And at every aid station, they were incredible. There was incredible help that were at these aid stations. And they had their own food, like candy and stuff like that, instant sugars that you use some of their stuff. But I didn't want to rely on any of their stuff. But at 60 miles is when I said, forget what I had. And I went over to them, and I was eating pickles. I was drinking pickle juice. I was having gummy bears. I was having, salt and vinegar chips. And for me, man, all of a sudden I went from super dialed in nutrition and fluids to just letting the floodgates open. Because I felt terrible, Q. I felt terrible. Like I felt, that dehydrated feel where I just felt weak, and I started to feel like I was getting dizzy.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've got to figure something out right now. Like I got to put more in, because I'm not taking in as much as I'm getting rid of. So I got to go figure it out. And for me, I wish I would, if I could go back, I wish I would have at that moment said, no, do what you've trained to do, not what you feel. Do what you train to do, not what you feel, and stick to my nutrition plan, because it really got out of control. And that was my first aid station where I hit a full body cramp.
Mhm.
And I'm talking groin, I'm talking hamstrings, I'm talking biceps, forearms, fingers were starting to curl. And that's, I kind of got nervous a little bit, but I took in that stuff. I was like, whew, maybe, we'll walk for the first mile or two and then let this kind of settle in. But anyways, pushing forward into the race, mile 70 through 80 was kind of our 5-hour window during the night. That was kind of our overnight time. It was like 10 a.m. to 3 a.m. And probably the hardest part of the race for me. It was, you're starting to have that fatigue. You're starting to have that, like I said, the nutrition was out of whack. So my body, everything that I was taking in nutritionally, I would pee it out within 10 steps. So I constantly was having to stop and have to go to the bathroom on the side of the road. And now granted, if you can envision looking at like the darkest woods that you can, in thick woods that you can think of, and now just put a path through it. That was our course. It was this rail trail that ran through the woods, hundreds of miles. And it was an old rail trail that is now like a running path. And so at night there was no lights. There's zero lights. And for us too, and this is another great story within this, Coach Bono and I, again, we tried to prepare every single little thing that we could think of that we're going to need throughout the race. And headlights were one of them, because it's going to be pitch dark. In 100 miles, there was only 150 people that ran this race. So over 100 miles, you're spread out. And there's times where we didn't see anybody for hours. And, so he bought these headlamps on Amazon, and we were all fired up saying, all right, dude, it's time to put the headlamps on. Let's go. And, the headlamps didn't work. So luckily at that aid station that we put our headlamps on, my wife came out and she did 10 miles with us from mile 70 to mile 80. And another great story. So our headlamps went out. I told her, when we're hurting at the moment, right? Our bodies are really hurting. I told her, hey, take your cell phone, turn on the light, and just get out in front of us. And I'll try my best for us we'll be behind you. Just get out in front of us and we'll try to stay with you. We're going to push through 10 miles. You be our pacer. And she's got her cell phone. She's walking along, jogging along. And all of a sudden bats are starting to come down at her.
Oh, wow.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. My wife's like, I didn't sign up for this. And it was an incredible experience. But like I said, my body was dumping all the fluids that I was trying to take in. So every 10 steps I was going to the bathroom. But on top of that, I was already I was so fatigued that when I would go to the bathroom, if I closed my eyes, I could feel myself start to fall down. Like I was that fatigued. So she would hold I had like a vest that carried my stuff. She would hold the back of my vest while I went to the bathroom so I didn't fall.
Wow.
So I'm talking incredible. You literally pushed your body to the limit, and then you were sprinting. It was how far can you go past that? But Q, that's why I'm like obsessed with ultra marathons now. I'm absolutely obsessed with the mindset and having to overcome when things get really, really hard. And that's what I tell our guys now. When things get hard, it's not turn away and put my tail in between my legs and take a different path of least resistance. It's how do I get through it? How do I get through that challenge? How do I continue to say, I don't care, I'm going to do it anyway. And like I said, on top of that, obviously Coach Bono and I got a great relationship, but doing the race with him, it was like this shared suffering, right? It was this shared suffering that we endured together, and an incredible experience. We were already very close, but doing 100-mile race and having to be there for each other in our weakest moments, in our most vulnerable states, and vice versa, it took our friendship to a whole nother level. And, I don't think my wife has ever seen me that vulnerable and that broken. Right. And really, I knew she was worried multiple times during a race when she would, I've never seen her like, hey, are you okay? And she kind of snipped at me and said, listen, you need to, if you're not okay, you need to tell me. And I'm like, me, I'm whatever. I'm going to figure it out. I'll run it until I die, whatever. But it was just an incredible mental challenge, and I would say more so mental than it is physical.
Yeah.
It's far more mental. There's a certain part of the race that's physical, and I would say it's probably miles 1 through 60, and then from 60 to 100, it's man, are you willing to endure that suffering? Because it's peaks and valleys and peaks and valleys and peaks and valleys, and those valleys will come like this. And Q, and I'm starting to get all these thoughts in my head about stories that had come through the race, but continuing on into the race, almost we're about to finish the race. I think we're at mile 93. That's the last aid station leading into the finish line is mile 93. And would you believe it? Before mile 93, there was 3 miles of just steep hills, up and down, up and down, up and down. Well, those hills, they wrecked me. They absolutely wrecked me. I couldn't pick my feet up. My hip flexors felt like they were broken. And I hit another, coming down that last hill into the aid station. At the very bottom of the hill was an aid station. And now granted, think of this. Every time I went into an aid station, never once did a worker like come out and greet you. Usually you come in and they're amazing. They're like, what do you need? Can I change your socks? Can I put, Vaseline on your blisters, whatever it may be. I knew I was hurting. I was hitting a hard body cramp leading into that aid station. I had the workers come running out to me because they saw how bad I was. I was crawling like this into the aid station.
Wow.
So they came running out to me. They gave me a bunch of salt water. Or they're like, "Hey, listen, what do you need? You got 90." And the great part about this, man, it gives me chills because walking into that aid station, never once did they say, "You need to be done," or "You need to quit. Do you want to quit?" It was, "Listen, what do you need? You're at mile 93. Let's get it in you and get your butt going. You got 7 miles left." And dude, what an incredible, like, just a little motivation that you needed at the right time to get you to
Mhm.
that finish line. And um, I'm a big believer in it, man. I think the hard things and that challenge is opened my eyes to, it's changed me as a person. There's so much, our minds, our bodies are so much more capable than what we give it credit for.
Yeah.
And really what we actually challenge it to, right? There's so much more that we're capable of, but are you willing to do it? Are you willing to suffer a little bit? And I tell our guys that all the time, man. You've got to be willing to suffer, and to win, there's a price that's got to be paid, and that suffering is a major part of it.
Yeah. You know what? That's a very interesting point because now with especially with just technology, just with our way of life, we can get pretty much anything on demand.
Mhm.
And the struggle aspect, that our predecessors or and generations before, they've been used to that. That sort of paved the way for society today, where we don't necessarily have to struggle for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Heck, even with a lot of athletes now, I mean, we got the transfer portals now. You can
Yeah.
transfer. Hey, I don't like the situation. I'm just gonna transfer out.
Right.
There's pros and cons to that.
Yeah, man.
Um,
I could go on and on about that.
yeah, I mean,
I
it's
could
it's
go
just
on and on about that. That transfer portal, obviously it's there for, there's certain situations that it's great for, but there's also, situations where, um, there's a lot of looking in the mirror that needs to happen.
yeah,
There's a lot of internal evaluations that need to happen on, you know, am I in this situation, you know, where I might not be the guy or the starter, and or whatever the reason is that they gotta leave. Did I give my best effort every day? Did I give my best hustle, effort, and attitude every single day to that coaching staff or whatever it may be to put myself in a position to be the best version of myself? Not blame others about not succeeding, or it's an internal evaluation, and you got to look in the mirror at some point in time. You got to look in the mirror and say, hey, listen, did I do everything right? Did I overturn every stone to be the best version of myself? And if not, that's on you. That's not the transfer portal is not, it's not going to fix that. You're going to go to another place, and you're going to, if you're not willing to change those things, if you're not willing to give your best hustle ever and attitude every day, then what changes? If nothing
yeah,
changes, nothing changes.
yeah.
But yeah, I could go on and on about that, Q.
Yeah, I mean, it's just yeah, it's one of those where you're either going to learn how to in whatever platform or whatever capacity you're in, say
Hmm.
you're a student athlete, you're either going to learn how to deal with that struggle now
Yep.
and get used to, yeah, I mean, if you're putting forth your best effort and it may not be good enough, there might be something else you maybe you might need to learn in those
Absolutely.
situations. And sometimes the easy way out is, yeah, hey, like, this is not right for me. I want to go somewhere where I can shine and
Yep.
be that superstar. And what sucks is that your position, you may be coming in as a superstar, but by the time you get to the collegiate level, you know, for those 2 or 3 years, you might have to be that really good training partner
Hmm.
and learning how to you know, be there for someone else until it's your time. Um, and I think a lot of people, they with what we have today, is just like, I want it now. I want it now. I
Yeah,
don't want it
they want
3 years.
instant satisfaction. They want
Yeah.
instant success, and success comes with consistency. And I'm a huge believer in consistency I would rather be consistently good than rarely or just often exceptional, right?
Yeah.
If you're consistently doing the right things day in and day out, from a social standpoint, an athletic standpoint, academics, if you're covering those aspects every single day and you're giving your best hustle effort and attitude and you're doing everything that you can do, you're gonna find success. But it's about every day. It's not about, hey, I'm only going to be exceptional when I feel good.
Yeah.
Or, it's kind of like the New Year's resolution people, the first week after New Year's, the gyms are packed. The
Yeah.
gyms are packed. I bet you January's their memberships are way up,
Yep.
but because they're exceptionally good, or they're exceptionally great just for a small amount of time. It's those guys that are fully invested. They're fully invested in the preparation and the vision. They're all in on the vision of where they want to go, and where they want to be. And they sit there and they understand that, listen, it's not overnight. It's not going to be overnight that I'm going to be a national champ. I'm going to be a national champ because of what I've done for weeks, months, years in the past,
Yeah.
that are going to lead me to that position, to have that position to be a national champ or whatever, fill in the blank. It's about what you do every day leading up to that. And trust me, there's going to be a lot of battles every day. There's going to be ones you win, ones you lose. But are you willing to fight for the consistency every single day? And I tell our guys that to be the best version of yourself, it starts with consistency. 100% starts with consistency, success. Yeah, you can quickly look at, was I all in on my training? Was I all in on preparation? It's never like, I don't know why it happened. You can
Yeah.
quickly look, you can quickly see if somebody's all in or not. And that's why, so consistency is huge. Overnight success is not a thing, man. It's you got to be willing to sit there and marinate in it and be fully invested in it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something I've been preaching for about a year now to my fighters that I help out, and just telling them, you just got to be consistent. I mean, it's
Mhm.
one of those we'll be in wrestling practice, and you know a lot of them like, hey, I need to work on my wrestling. I was like, well, you got to show up. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like you can't come in like once every month and think you're going to learn something. I was like, you
Mhm.
just got to come in and just be consistent. Don't worry about feeling like you got to take out everyone, but just come in here and just learn.
Mhm.
And so yeah, it's just one of those where yeah, definitely, some of my fighters, getting them used to coming in and just being consistent.
Yep.
You don't have to be the best, on a given day, but just coming in, focus and do the work. And it's just one of those where some of them, they'll come in when they feel good, or they'll
Yeah.
come in like after maybe they want to fight, and then you don't see them for a month. I was like, no, look, you got to come
Yep.
back in here. I was like, yes, you got your time to recover, but come back in here and ready to learn. Um, so yeah, it's just one of those where I think a lot of them, a lot of the athletes, they're used to, they love those highlight reels.
Yep.
They love, um, training, or they'll love, posting out their workouts on social media. And, not to
Yep.
say there's nothing, good or bad about that, but I want to see how you react, or how you train when no one's necessarily looking at you for
Yeah.
years. Um,
Absolutely. No doubt
and I
about
want
it.
to see how I want to just want to see how you respond then.
Yep.
Um, so it's yeah, it's a weird little dynamic there with with a lot of the athletes now, and just learning, like what you talked about. I mean, you have to go through that struggle.
Yep. And
And
it's pretty just to relate that to kind of what our guys are doing right now. Obviously the Big Ten season is an extreme challenge within itself, but
Yeah,
the great thing about the Big Ten schedule is, so from January to February, end of February is basically our Big Ten schedule. So you're wrestling teams Friday and Sunday, every week. And there is that's the great part about it. You don't have to wait. So you could lose on a Friday night and have, turn around, and less than 48 hours later, you're wrestling another tough opponent. And how do you react to a loss?
yeah,
How do you turn around and be able to compete at the highest level and go beat another opponent on Sunday? That's the best part about this sport. having to come back from those losses. And exactly, you stay committed to what you believe in the philosophies that you preach to yourself every single day. And for us, that's just your best hustle, effort, and attitude. No doubt about it. If you can consistently give your best hustle, effort, and attitude, I promise you successes are going to happen, but you're going to put yourself in a lot better position.
Yeah. Yep. I actually have a hustle on my
Yeah, I
sweatshirt.
saw that, man. I was like, dang, I like that shirt. I see hustle and effort.
I'll have to get you one. I'll have to send you one.
Very
New sweatshirt
nice.
that came out with.
Yeah, I like it. I
I
like it.
got hustle, effort, teamwork, attitude, and respect.
I love it.
So put a little acronym for heart. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, I think for people that know you, you've got you just got that contagious energy that people naturally gravitate around. What for you, I mean, I know you told some stories about the marathon, but personally for you, what pushes you every day? What sort of drives and fuels you?
Well, I think things have changed over my obviously 33 years I've been alive. It's changed a lot over the years, but for me, I mean, being a collegiate coach and being a father, I'm just trying to be a better version of myself every single day, whether it's, treating people better, whether it's being a better coach, being a better friend, being a better mentor, being a better husband, being a better father. What can I do to be better every single day? And if I do that, that's amazing. And don't get me wrong, there's days where I don't come close to hitting, par or whatever it may be, but it's a challenge. And I understand that. And I do my best every single day to be a better version than I was yesterday, but understand that I'm not going to be better. I'm not better today than I will be tomorrow too,
Yeah.
because I'm going to hustle. And I'm going to get better tomorrow, whatever it may be. Whether it's making our team better, the whole 9 yards, I'm trying to get a little bit better every single day in my own personal life. That's what motivates me. When I was an athlete, man, I was so single-minded on and obsessed with my own career and making sure that I was taking care of me and I was taking care of, obviously there's no one man bigger than the team, and I understood the team aspect of it, but I was under the assumption and thought of, in collegiate wrestling, there's 10 weight classes. If I did my 10%, if I maxed out on my 10%, that would help the team so much. Because I was part of really good teams. They were top 3 every year in the NCAAs. So if I did my 10%, I would make the team better. And if I was all in on it, like I said, if I was all in on everything I did to be a national champ, that was my mindset when I was an athlete. But like I said, things have changed since I've become a father, a husband, a coach. And I really, really enjoy that. And for me, it's just about being a better person, being a better version of me, and consistently trying to adapt and find ways to get better. I feel like a lot of people, they continue to live in the past and the ways that they've done things for years. They might have worked then, but things are constantly evolving.
Yeah.
Things are constantly evolving in the sport. Kids, the new age of you got to a good coach is able to adapt as time goes. You kind of understand does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Like the way you talk to somebody is different than the way you talk to somebody 20 years ago.
Yep.
The way you coach somebody is different than way it might be that, it might be complete opposite than what I needed. And I need to understand that every single person is different and every single person needs something, a small piece, or a little button that's going to push this guy, but that button might not be the same for that guy. And understanding that. And I've gotten better. I've been 10 years in collegiate coaching, and I've gotten so much better than year one on understanding that every single person is different. We got 33 guys on our team, and all 33 of them, I can confidently say they're all different on what makes them tick, and understanding to push the buttons at the right time to help them go be the best version of themselves. And I can honestly say this is the most fun I've had or am having in my collegiate career as a coach to date. Is just the culture is a different culture than when we first got here. And I'm having so much fun because the guys, they love to get better. They love to suffer with their teammates. They want to do great things with their teammates. They want to be great role models in the community and give back to those that are looking up to them. They understand that they're at a platform, and probably one of the highest platforms and times of their life is in college. So the role model aspect of being a collegiate athlete, they understand that, and they're willing to give back to anybody in the community. And I'm very grateful for that. And I understand that these guys are so special. I'm just having a great time being a part of this program. Grateful to be with my brother, Coach Bono, that I've been with for 10 years now. I was a student athlete under him and now coaching with him for 10 years. It's very rare to have a coaching staff together that long. And it takes trust, it takes loyalty, it takes understanding each other. Like I've told many people, we're basically a clone of each other. So the trust level has got to be at an all-time high. The loyalty for us, that's first and foremost. We've all, that's what we live by, is loyalty. And to be able to do it with him, to be able to do it with my brother Seth Gross, just is just an incredible young coach that has got so much energy and passion for what he believes in and what he's doing, and the visions and things that he's bringing to our program has helped us exceptionally. And I'm honored to be able to coach at the University of Wisconsin, where number one, winning matters. Winning matters, and they're not afraid to tell you. And I love that about this place. They want to win. They want to win at the highest level, and they want to graduate kids with exceptional degrees on whatever you may want to study. I'm grateful for that. But I'm just long story short, I'm just trying to be a better version of myself, man. And how do I give value to those around me? How do I uplift those around me is really my motivation every single day. Like I said, whether it's a stranger, whether it's, I was raised old school. I was raised to treat people right and treat people the way you want to be treated. And, if I walk by a piece of garbage, and nobody's around, I'm still going to pick that piece of garbage up, because that's the way I was raised. That's the way my mom and dad raised me. Yeah. And, I'm trying to project that on our guys in a loving way, and just be a role model, an example, really. I mean, I wrestle, run, and lift with our guys every single day. So they understand that to win at a certain level, there's an expectation on the way you train, the way you carry yourself, the way you treat people. And just really just do my best to be a role model in every aspect. Obviously I'm getting older. But I still love the grind, man. I really love the camaraderie of the sport. I really love the long road trips. Those are my favorite times, to be on the road with the guys, especially when we're in enemy territory. It could be the most hostile environments. That's where I love it. I would live in those moments. And to do it with the ones that you truly believe in, and the kids that love you back and love this program and want to represent this university at the highest level. That's why I'm in this, and to help them, eventually, hopefully take these characteristics and kind of the way we do things around here, and hopefully that translates into their own professional careers and their own lives after, when their husbands and their fathers and their own representatives, and they can look back on and say, like, that was a pivotal moment in my young adult career, was when I was under these guys and I was mentored by these guys. And if it wasn't for you guys, I would have went this way, or I could have went this way. And now I'm teaching the same things to my kids about the hustle, effort, and attitude. Those are the things that, man, I love coaching for that. I love the wins and losses are amazing, and I want to win at the highest level. But the value that you can give to these kids on every level, this is one of their most pivotal moments in their lives, right? Yeah. Your young adulthood life, you could go this way or this way, and to give them strong, male freaking role model. That's an amazing experience for those guys. So I know I rambled, but I just want to be the best version of myself, and help lift these guys up around me, and lift my own staff up, lift up those around me, and let them know that I appreciate everything they do, whether it's our laundry guy, whether it's our nutritionist, our strength coach, whoever touches this program. I want them to understand that, number one, we all communicate in the same way, and we're all on the same page, but we all appreciate the work that they do. And, they're an integral part of our program.
Yeah, those are some great points. I mean, actually, the new episode I just put out for the show today is talking about taking inventory, and, like, are you looking back from last year, are you an asset, or are you a liability for someone?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
that's great.
What
I like
are all
that.
the little touch points that you've done over the course of the year? What things are you giving value to somebody, or you like draining someone's energy?
Yep.
And it's just one of those where, if you don't realize that, you don't know what you're doing to various people or environments. If you're coming up if you're coming out, to show up and be there and be the best person you can be. Yeah, obviously you're gonna be an asset for anybody that's in your presence. But if you come in like, oh man, I gotta coach these kids today, getting on
Yeah.
my nerves. Someone screaming about this. It's just one of those where, I think a lot of athletes, they tend to feel and feed off that. And if you got coaches coming in a little negative, then yeah, I think they're gonna sense it too. And so this is one of those where, um, I try to tell my fighters, it's like whatever happened, because a lot of them are in the military and they deal with all kinds of issues. And I like, hey, look, whatever happened, leave it at the door. When you come in here, you come in here with a good attitude, come in here ready to learn, get a workout in, and control what you can control. Like for those 2 hours, for that 1 hour, 2 hour, we got a 1 hour practice, which I wish we bumped that up. But for our practice, you get to control how you want to be for that one
Yep.
hour. Um,
Absolutely.
and I think with a lot of the athletes, if they can control what you can control for those 2 hours, and
Absolutely.
and I think if they can learn how to do that, then that's where things start to switch perception wise. A lot of times, some people can just come in with unnecessary baggage. You're
Oh man,
carrying.
I hear it every day. I hear it every day. This is a daily conversation that we have with our guys, and obviously, you can relate this to the business world and things that you do as well. And obviously, your fighters, they deal with this as well, whether it be performance anxiety, whether it's I don't want to lose, or just the baggage, the extra baggage that they have zero control over.
Yeah,
They have zero control over if they're going to go win or lose a match. Obviously you got to go out there and do the work, but you got to understand that, you know, the results will take care of themselves. You control your daily effort, your daily attitude, your daily hustle, your daily nutrition, the whole, everything that we've already talked about.
mhm,
That's what you have complete control over. And, I tell my guys, if you lose a wrestling match, really, let's really unpack that. If you lose a wrestling match, are your parents not going to love you? Are we not going to love you? Are we going to give up on you? No to all those. Right. So, in a roundabout way, in the simplest form, this is a wrestling match we're talking about. This is a wrestling match, man. And you have an opportunity to do something that not a lot of people have to do,
yeah,
is to go out there and chase a national championship, or fill in the blanks. So from that aspect, keeping it simple, but understanding that what you do daily is 100% control, right? I can't control what's going to happen 1 month from now. All I can control is right now, right here, this conversation, me and you. That's it. That's all I have control over right now.
So what you and Bono, I mean, from what I've noticed, even looking at the videos online, I can tell y'all have a lot of fun uh, up there. And so, how do you feel like the culture of just Wisconsin
Yep.
wrestling? How do you feel like that's changed with you and Bono
Well, I
and
mean,
Steph being there?
yeah, I think that, we're in our fourth season, and I think my perception of the University of Wisconsin, prior to us coming here, I think it was one of those programs that, I'm not real, if you scheduled them, if you scheduled Wisconsin and you weren't in the Big Ten, you had a great chance of beating them, because they, you knew if you were in better shape, whatever it may be, there was a great chance to beat that program. But I had a perception on, that I never wrestled in the Big Ten. I wrestled in the Big 12. I just had a perception that a Big Ten program, it naturally had guys that were all in, that were bought into the program, that were cohesive, and, um, carried themselves at a very high level. And I quickly got to the University of Wisconsin, and number one, university aside, the culture of the program um, was very, very different than what I'd ever been accustomed to
Mhm,
as an athlete or as a coach. Very divided,
mhm,
very defiant, very. It was just a very hard situation, Q. And on top of that, when you don't have a relationship with those guys, it's very hard. And change is hard for a lot of people, right? You didn't recruit those kids. They had a different coach that recruited them. So you step in and you try to be their coach and you don't have any relationship with them. It's naturally going to be a hard situation. And, but we signed up for that. We knew that was going to, we didn't understand that was going to be part of it, but we understood that this is part of the job. And, these are our guys now. And we tried to make the best with what we had. And 4 years down the road now, I am confident in saying that we have 33 guys in there that are team number one, that will do anything for their teammates, that will day or night, they will suffer with their brothers. They will put the team first in every aspect, that are bought in on the philosophy of your best hustle, effort, and attitude. I can't guarantee you that we're going to win every match, but I guarantee you we're going to give our best hustle, effort, and attitude. And that alone is going to put us in the best situation to have success. They understand that. They understand that academics are critical. They understand that there's life after wrestling, and they're going to do their best every time they step foot into that classroom. They understand that they're going to be great role models in the community. They're going to represent not only our wrestling program, but the university at the highest level when it comes to the way we treat people, the way we mentor young kids, the way we do this, the way we, if somebody sees one of our athletes downtown or at a restaurant, our kids are outstanding citizens. They're not going to be downtown drinking 37 beers and punching people in the face. That's just not what they do. And I can confidently say that now, 4 years later, like I said, and I've been a part of a lot of really good programs, and this is the most fun I am having as a collegiate coach, mentoring these guys and being around our guys and the culture that we've built. It's amazing. And a prime example, we beat Rutgers, who was top 10 program in the country last Sunday. Yeah. And they have an excellent team, excellent coaching staff, and I love those coaches to death. They're our buddies. And what our guys said after the dual meet was finished, it really got me emotional, because again, this is what I'm in it for. I'm in it for that brotherhood and that mentorship, and to hear some of our guys. We didn't really say too much as a coaching staff. We kind of let the floor. The guys have it. And we're like, what do you guys think of that? And guys jumped up and they're looking, they said, I am so happy to be a part of a culture where the standard is up here, and the way we do everything is up here, and the way we do it as a team is it's a family environment. And to hear that as a coach, you understand that you're on the right track.
Yeah.
You're on the right track. You're doing the right things when it comes to a culture standpoint and setting that standard. And if I could look back on the culture now from the culture then, I would never have, in certain situations, those were the first times for us as a coaching staff that we ever got presented with some of the things that we got presented with. I would never compromise. My advice to anybody would never compromise your principles, never compromise your standard, never compromise your philosophies for anything when it comes to culture. If there's one guy that might not feel like that is the culture that he wants to be a part of, all of a sudden it becomes two guys, and all of a sudden two becomes four guys, and now four becomes eight guys, and now all of a sudden you got half your team that is over here thinking they should be doing this, and they're telling these guys, it just becomes not what you want. And like I said, Q, it's come a long way. It's been a really, really hard 4 years. The first 2 years were really, really hard from a culture standpoint, and then you throw in COVID. Yeah. And then now we're into our 4th year. I never, ever, if I would have, been able to think that this would have been the way the first 3 years went, I would never have guessed. I never would have guessed. My first 2 years here, I was like, holy crap, did we make the right move?
Yeah.
Did we do the right thing? And no doubt about it, we put our heads down and we kept working, and we kept, reminding each other and our staff, saying, keep doing the right things. I promise you it'll pay off. Keep doing the right things. It'll pay off, and keep recruiting the kids that are that fit our mold and fit the way that we want to treat, people and represent this university. And I'm telling you, man, I'm at an all-time high. Our culture is at an all-time high. The way we operate as a unit is is at an all-time high, and we still have so much more room to grow, which is amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So right now, I mean, well, I know we had went into the pretty much the toughest thing that you've
Yeah.
done. How did that? I mean, personally, I mean, you can go as short or as long as you want to. How did that change your perception on the way that you view yourself in life?
Well, I think that, the 100-mile race 100% really opened my eyes personally to, there's been moments in my life where I had to really get tough, right? And in the previous show, I talked to you guys about, my junior year, I was supposed to be an All-American. I was a high-ranked seed going in the NCAA tournament. I had some injuries and things that led to me not being an All-American, and eventually led me not to be a 4-time All-American. And that's one of the moments that really haunts me to this day. But um, I think that I had to get tough in that moment, my junior year, when I did All-American, come back and be a national champ the following year, right? Those were different moments. But in that 100-mile race, I really had to figure out, really how far I could take my body, and how tough are you? I've never, it was such an unknown, Q, that it almost scared me. It almost, I've never been really scared for a physical challenge or a mental challenge. And I really, honestly, that's why, like, personally, I'm kind of like obsessed with this now. I'm kind of obsessed with this ultra marathon, because it's such an unknown.
Yeah.
And each race can be different. Like, if I don't do the nutrition right, the next time it could be worse, or it could be, I could get injured out there, or something may happen. It's such an unknown that it's a little bit scary, that I freaking love it. And that's what I like about it. I like the little bit of being scared about it, but it changed me in the aspect that I had to get really tough. I had to really understand that, your body is capable of so much more. And I showed myself for that for the first time in my whole life. I had to show myself, like, hey, you really could go this far, and you really could go farther than you ever dreamt you could go. And you went 100 miles. And after doing it, I'm easily the hardest thing I've ever done. And I haven't told you this, I've told other podcasts, but the second I came across the finish line, it was 100 miles, right? And actually, they trick you. So this course says it's called the Badger 100, but it was like 101 and a half miles. So we ran more than that. We ran 101 and a half miles, or something like that. It was, people were talking about it. I was like, man, we ran more than 100. But when we came across the finish line, and I got videos I can send you, of I got lowered on. It was in a park that this finish line was in, and I got lowered onto this blanket, and you watch me, and it's like I can't bend my legs. My legs were stiff, so I couldn't bend my legs, and it was basically just like a trust fall, basically face first. And I had two of our buddies that were there, and they basically lowered me down to my belly. They flipped me over to my back, and I passed out. Literally, my body had enough. I passed out, and I slept for an hour in the park. Hour went by, and that was mistake number one after the race, was laying down and staying still, because when I got woke up, everything had like seized. So when they tried to get me off, I couldn't move, Q. I could not move. So when they put me back up onto my feet, all the pressure from my heel, or my ankles, I felt like my ankles were broken. And when they put weight on my feet, I no longer could walk. So I had two guys that I tried to walk with. I couldn't even put pressure on I couldn't put an ounce of pressure on my feet. They were so seized up. So I had one of our buddies, he carried me about 150 yards on his back to my car. And, my wife drove me home, and the course was about 45 minutes from home. It gets even better. So you listeners, it gets even better. And I can't wait for the next time. But we got home, and I took this race really serious. Obviously, you know me, it's 0 or 100 and everything. And I shipped our kids away. I sent my two kids, my 5-year-old daughter and 3-year-old son. I sent them to the grandparents, and it was just me and my wife. And I was like, listen, for 2 days before, I'm gonna really get ready for this race. And once the race is done, the kids can come back. And after the race was done, like I said, I got carried to this car, and 45-minute drive home. I passed out in the car again, drove home, and now it's just me and my wife in the garage. She pulls into the garage. She comes around to this passenger side. She opens the door. I can't walk. She lowers me onto my garage floor. I army crawl through my garage, up the stairs, into the mud room, like the first landing in the room or in the laundry room. And she puts a blanket down, and I crawl onto this blanket, and she grabs a corner and she pulls me through the house, like to a lazy boy chair, strips me naked, washes me off, and I literally, this is so good, this is so bad, but I was peeing in a cup for 24 hours. I could not stand up, Q. Could not stand up. And I actually got worried about 24 hours later. I was still, going to the bathroom, and it was really, really dark brown. And I thought I was starting to have some rhabdo or some kind of, break down the muscle tissue into your urine. I was starting to get worried. So I was trying to pump the fluids and do everything I could to keep fluids pumping. And it wasn't for 24 hours later that Coach Bono actually brought over. He was in a little bit better state. He was about, I would say, 12 hours ahead of me as far as recovery. He was able to just start walking, and I was still stranded. And he's like, "Hey, listen, if tomorrow, if I can walk, I'm going to bring you over crutches. You need to get on your feet. And you need to start walking." And I got on crutches, started walking, and eventually was able to get into a hot tub, kind of loosen things up. And then once I got things loosened up, things started to come back. But I still am 5 or 6 months post race, and I mean, I don't feel like I feel like you better be prepared to have lifelong injuries after those races. No joke. No joke. But I would say, less than 48 hours after the race, we were hobbling into recruits' houses. And, it was funny too, because we went up to a kid's house in northern Wisconsin, about a 2.5 hour drive. So again, you're sitting down, your legs are getting tight. And, any moment that I would sit down and let my legs like sit still for more than 30 minutes, I felt like I locked up. So a good long car trip with Coach Mono, we get to this kid's house. I had the crutches in the truck just in case I needed them. And we got out of the truck and we hobbled up to this kid's house. And the really cool part was, we had put it out on social media for a long time. So a lot of people were following it. And I'll never forget the kids' faces. They're like, "I can't believe you guys are even here." And I'm like, "Listen, that's why, because you're important. We're not missing that. We're not missing this." So it was cool to experience that part of it. And, we've got a couple more races in store for this summer. So we'll be back out there doing it again.
Inspiring you, but we're gonna go into creative tips. We'll go into that.
So my creative tip is, and I've been thinking about this, and I was like, man, should I bring up something new? And I was, when I got the list of questions for me, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stick with what exactly I told you guys last time, because I truly believe if you dive into being consistent and being consistent in your preparation is so important. And this goes for business people. This goes for any walk of life, and especially athletes. For me, for a long time, I got laughed at by my wife because of the things that I would do to prepare myself for the next day, whether it was set out my clothes, whether it was set out my bowl with my oatmeal, with my spoon, with my banana, with my coffee next to it, with my coffee already done. Everything is in place. My supplements were right there. My, my journal and my devotional is right there. Everything is in place. So when that alarm clock goes off, I get up, and there is zero panic on where's my clothes, where's my supplements, where's my food, where's my journal. It's done. It's get up, brush your teeth, get your butt downstairs, and get going. And that for me it's almost like therapy for me. When I come home, I'm like super excited, try to be super excited for my kids. And when dad's home, it's all about them. And, but when I get that moment to prepare for the next day, I go all in, man. I go all in on making sure that it is dialed in on every aspect. Like I said, so when that goes off, it's being the best version of Jon Reader I could be that day, and lift up those around me. And that little thing, whether it's setting my food out or setting my clothes out, for me, that helps me. And I truly believe if you can figure out some sort of routine the night before, I'm not talking about the morning of. Yes, your morning routine will naturally come to form, but it starts the night before. And I challenge you to be all in on that. I challenge you to figure out what you need for the next day to be the best version of yourself. And I challenge you to do that daily. And if you can do that daily, and I promise you, you're gonna there's going to be some positive that comes out of that. There's going to be a little bit less stress on for you the next morning. You're going to be a little bit more laser focused that next morning. Um, and naturally, like I said, the next morning it's all about efficiency for me, and how do I set myself up and get ready to rock and roll.
Great help.
So,
I like
so
that.
preparation, man, preparation is key. And you'll see the people that are having the most success in their careers, the guys that are having the most success in their athletic careers, they prepare and they're passionate about what they prepare, and they're consistently good in their preparation. They're not occasionally great. Going back to what we talked about earlier, they're consistently good in their preparation, not occasionally great, because occasionally great is a mediocrity mindset. And if you want mediocrity, then expect to have a lot of, I don't know, have a lot of losses, have a lot of troubles, have a lot of, I don't know the words I'm looking for, but mediocrity mindset sets yourself up for not being the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of passion for just trying to chase the best version of me. That's all I can do. And having the opportunity to do that is all you can ask for in life, is an opportunity. So set yourself up for success. That's my tip, Q. That's my creative tip. Consistently good in your preparationally, not occasionally great.
I like that. I'm gonna have to go ahead and take that from you for my
man. Consistently
for
good.
my class. So right now, I mean, what but before we get, before we start to sign off, what are some words of wisdom? Just a couple of words, or anything that might be in your mind that you can give to our audience that may hear this right now, or later on today, or maybe 3 years from now that
Absolutely
this episode.
Yeah, you know what? And I've been thinking about this more and more as I get older, and I know this is a little bit sensitive or like soft or whatever you want to think, but the older I get, the more grateful I become. I get more grateful for the things, the little things in my life, the friendships in my life, the people that are invested in me emotionally. My wife, my kids. I become more and more grateful as I become older. So my words of wisdom is just, there's times in your day where you can sit back and be grateful for what you have, or be grateful for what has gotten you to this point in your life. And I tell our guys all the time, again, you're a collegiate athlete with an opportunity to do something special that not a lot of people get to do. Not a lot of people get to chase a college degree and or be the best version of themselves on in their collegiate career. Be grateful for that. Be grateful for the moments in your life that led you to where you are. For me, my parents, I'm incredibly grateful for my parents and what they did for the years leading up to me being into my young adult life. And even now as an adult, I still am getting things from my parents consistently that I'm just incredibly grateful for their positive mindset. I really believe I got that from my parents, and always trying to find the good in a situation. Just be grateful for right here, right now. Be grateful for the opportunities you get to control the things in your life right here, right now. Don't stress out about what things that are happening, months, 2 months away. Just be grateful for right here, right now. Be grateful for those around you. Be grateful for Q. Be grateful for the opportunity to lift up. You have so many people that look up to you and that are in your circle, and fighters and business people, and your following is massive. Be grateful for you get the opportunity to lift up hundreds of thousands of people. And man, I'll tell you, it'd be a lot better world if we just stop and be grateful for what we have.
Hey, that is the truth. That is the truth. I know. I work with a homeless organization that helps out with the homeless out here, and just dealing with uh, learning and learning their stories. I mean, it's people that would wish they were in a situation that we may hate, like we may like, oh, I want to be, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do this, and there's people that wish they could be in your situation.
Yes.
So I know just talking with them through the year, it's switched, like first of all, like, hey, look, I am thankful for being being alive for a new day. And then yeah, man, the next thing I just tell myself is like, like how do I need to show up today? Like
Yep.
what is it that I need to do? Just comes down to just being a good human. I'm not gonna say
Yep.
I'm nowhere near perfect. I
Yep.
do dumb stuff daily. But can I show up? And like what you talk about, can I show up consistently and just show up for opportunities? I'm not saying
Mhm.
I'm gonna win every little thing, but can I show up to be ready and prepared for opportunities?
Yep.
And that may be sharing some words of wisdom to somebody, or maybe something that I need to hear, so I can put that in my own life and
Mhm.
I can share that out to others. So those some great words of wisdom. That's something that definitely I feel people will resonate with.
Absolutely.
So right now, what I know if you want to talk briefly about it, I know you've got a regional training center.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
talk
We got
briefly
a
about
regional
that real
training
quick.
center that it's kind of an extension of our wrestling program, really, here at the University of Wisconsin. It's designed. A regional training center is the Olympic level sports. So you've got the Greco-Romans, the women's wrestling, the men's freestyle, guys, women and men that are trying to post collegiately trying to wrestle for world and Olympic medals and represent the United States. And we have formed a regional training center here at the University of Wisconsin called the Wisconsin Regional Training Center. That's the exact thing we're trying to do. And our program is designed that when you come as a freshman, for the men's side, when you come in as a freshman, our program, whether you're here for 4 or 5 years, it's designed to give you an opportunity post collegiate that you can go do that. You can live on a stipend that we would provide, and you would have the opportunity to continue to train and win world and Olympic medals and bring them back to the University of Wisconsin. And in return, you're training with our collegiate guys, which is making our team better, right? So that is it's a crucial part of our program, and we've got 6 athletes right now. 3 of them are women, and they're some of the best athletes in the world, right? They're winning world level medals, and our women are crushing it and doing a great job. And they're traveling all over the world and getting number one. They're getting they're bringing back world medals, but they're experiencing different cultures, and they're worldly. They're all over the world. They're just in Bulgaria, they're in Ukraine, they're over in Turkey. They're all over the world wrestling and representing the United States. These are some of the best experiences that you'll have in your life. Being able to put on that American flag and representing the United States is an honor. And our program takes that very seriously. But like I said, the Wisconsin Regional Training Center does a lot of things. We provide training for high school athletes after the collegiate career is done and after their high school seasons are done. We bring in kids from 250-mile radius around our campus that we provide training for those the high school athletes. That number one, they get to experience the University of Wisconsin, but they're trained with their collegiate athletes. So what an experience for those guys. So just an all-around great organization that our goal is to continue to build that and to continue to build more athletes coming in. And obviously that's a fundraising hurdle that we've got that challenge every day, and we love it. And we attack it every day. And it's just the beginning. We just formed our Wisconsin Regional Training Center 4 years ago, and we've got 6 athletes already. So very great, very great. Grateful to have those guys here with us.
Is there a specific website or anything like has for fundraising opportunities for the
Yes.
training
Yep.
center?
Absolutely. Good point. So you can go to wisconsinrtc.com, and there's great ways to donate. There's great ways to connect with different events that we have going on. We've actually got a great event coming up February 12th where we're going to do a 10K raffle. So we're going to sell raffle tickets. To 250 tickets will be sold. And it's an opportunity for you to win a $10,000 grand prize if you're the last ticket drawn.
Cool.
So pretty cool experience. And two, you and a guest get all you can eat, drink, and food, and a great night in Madison, and with a chance to win a grand prize of $10,000.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That'd
So
be a great experience.
yeah, so there's consistently things that are going on within our RTC, different fundraising events. I've got a German team that is going to be coming here in April, and kind of an international experience where 13 to 15 of the best under 20 athletes from Germany are going to come train with our athletes for about a week. And then we're going to put a dual meet on at the very end of their training camp before they go home. So
awesome.
Great experience for number one, for the German team to come here and experience, United States and especially Madison, but for our collegiate athletes to get that international flavor and be able to train alongside them, pick up, some of their things. And the friendship that we built with those guys has been really good.
That's great. Yeah. So as far as how can people get in touch with you for for it could be for anything, for camps, seminars, for speaking opportunities,
man,
or wanting to support Wisconsin wrestling. What's the best way to contact?
So best way for me is probably my Twitter. Is probably the easiest way to find me. Jon_Reader, READER is the best way to find me. You can shoot me a DM on there if there's ever anything that you need, and I encourage that. We're always open to. We'll always get back to anybody that shoots a message out. And you can find me right there. You can find me on Instagram. Same thing. Jon_Reader, READER, and like I said, shoot me a DM. Let me know you're excited about this podcast.
Sounds great. And if anyone doesn't know the assistant coach, it's a sort of a inside running joke. He doesn't like coffee. So Seth Gross, an outstanding wrestler. He's one of the coaches there at Wisconsin. He is known for not liking coffee.
Yeah, man, that's my guy. And we're trying to. Who doesn't like coffee? And I'm trying to get him to come over. He says he doesn't like coffee. So I started him. I actually did him kind of dirty at the beginning. We went to IHOP, and that was his very first experience. And IHOP doesn't have the best coffee. I'll admit that. But I wanted him to understand there's levels to this. Yeah. There's levels to this. And I've built myself up to I kind of like really good coffee. And I want him to come over to this, liking coffee. And I can't get him to do it. And I'm eventually going to get him to do it. I just got to put, some foo-foo cream and, mocha latte this, and he'll eventually do it. So we're working on him.
I would love to go to Madison just so I can see his face.
Yeah, he really does. He really dislikes it. He really does not like it. He puts it in his mouth and he's about to throw up. So we'll get him. We'll eventually get him, Q.
Oh, good deal. Well, you know what? Hey, this has been an awesome episode. This will be re-released. So for anyone listening to this is a live recording. This will be on all the podcast channels, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, as well as Facebook Podcast. And then this will also be on Helium Radio too, as well as my radio partner. So this will be all over the airwaves. Awesome. And then the video portion will be on the Creative Brew Facebook page, and snippets will be on Instagram, LinkedIn, and then we'll have the full episode too as well on YouTube. So once this re-releases, I'll send out the links and everything, and for people to catch this if you weren't able to catch this live recording. Please check out Jon Reader. Check out all the things he's doing. Great guy. Probably one of the most contagious people, high energy people that you'll ever meet. And just give him support, especially for all my coaches, and definitely with Wisconsin wrestling. I'm glad you're doing a lot of great things there, and I see you're having fun and continued success, and hopefully a lot of people on the podium come March. And
yes, sir. That's the goal, Q.
So, hey, once again, this has been another awesome episode with your show host, me, Quantel, and Jon Reader. And once again, be creative, stay inspired.